You're listening to the Manifesting Miracles podcast. By tuning in today, you're dialing into your frequency of abundance. I'm Michelle J. Lamont, your manifestation master and guide. Ever since 2016, I've been obsessively dedicating my life to uncovering, dissecting, and analyzing every aspect of the practices and modalities in which we call manifestation. You see, you are truly more powerful than you can even imagine and fully capable of manifesting miracles on the daily. I'm going to teach you how to attract a life beyond your wildest dreams using your own divine power. So let's get started manifesting your miracles right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is time for us to vibrate, to be aligned, to be celestially connected to the highest and the biggest version of ourselves, to transform our story, to be resilient, and to manipulate the energy here on this planet called Earth, the teaching planet. Welcome, my vibrant, radiant souls. It is time for us to embark on another transformative voyage of revelation and growth. This is Manifesting Miracles. I am your illustrious host, Michelle Juanita Lamont, and I am so honored to have you in my energy today. I'm so honored to be spending time with you, and I want you to know that spiritually, I'm right there. I'm right here next to you. No matter how you're feeling in this moment in time, I want to today extend a heartfelt invitation to explore the profound revelations and empowerment sparked by my journey with the solar eclipse. A journey filled with healing, reconnection, and profound transformation. And I want you to understand that in this triumphant story of betrayal to bond, I'm going to reveal things about myself and hopefully open up things about your own journey that will allow you to not only stay the course, but to be more and more and more committed to your journey of self-exploration and growth, because it doesn't happen when you think it's going to happen, and it never happens the way that you think it's going to happen. And when you get what you want, it's usually already like you don't want it anymore. So divine timing, yes, but stay the course. And I want to take you back. I want to take you on a little journey with me. If you'll allow me the courtesy of your time, I want you to close your eyes. And maybe you weren't alive when the last solar eclipse happened. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, you were. Maybe you don't remember the last solar eclipse, or you were young. Maybe you remember it perfectly. Ouch. I just kicked my leg into my chair. Sorry. Maybe you don't remember anything about the last solar eclipse, but I do. So if you can, take yourself back to 2017, a time when the solar eclipse cast its shadow into and on my life. In its wake, I found myself sharing a moment with a friend. I honestly didn't even know it was the eclipse, yet beneath the surface, the connection felt hollow and unfulfilled. And little did I know that this superficial bond would soon crumble, leaving me adrift and totally betrayed. And I want to start there and tell you my little story. So back in 2017, I was about a year out from my suicide attempt. I'd gone back to school to understand the brain, getting my accreditation of the 18-month program of mindfulness cognitive therapy, where I then understood and was introduced to concepts like meditation, mindfulness, critical understanding of delta, theta, waves in the brain, alpha, theta brain waves, understanding your frontal cortex, your the way that neurons fire, the way that the neuropathic pathways in our brain operate. Because I couldn't understand why I had been through so much in my life and endured so much that when I was finally free, I attempted suicide. So I went back to school, and that was the awakening of my spiritual journey. And during that time, I was very, very vulnerable. And I was still around all of these people who were in my lower vibrational dimension. And remember, in the matrix, in the 3D matrix, you are a reflection of the reality you believe most for yourself. So there's all these different litmus tests that you can take for money, for love, for health, for happiness, for freedom, and then how to work through that psychologically, like where's your barrier? And then let's ask 5 questions, why, etc. So as I started to learn all of that, I was still in a vibrational reality where we would think day drinking was fun. We would just gorge on whatever we wanted to do, but not in a healthy way. Very gossipy, very materialistic relationship and world. And I existed in that media world because I knew how to feed the beast. I knew how to be in rooms with people and mimic them. I couldn't be my authentic self because I didn't know that I had an authentic self. All I thought was I was who I was. And one of the things during my spiritual awakening, I read a book by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and Becoming Supernatural. And during that time period, after this story, I read that, I realized that I had never really known how to be myself, because as traumas start leaving footprints in our psyche, they also leave it in our matrix and our spirituality. And as we start to dive into that realm of thinking, more and more and more rabbit holes are revealed. So this person it was a solar eclipse, and she worked at a TV station, so they had solar eclipse glasses, and she was like, yeah, come over to my apartment. It's a solar eclipse. I didn't even know didn't even care that it was a solar eclipse or anything. I've got glasses, and then we'll go drink. And I was like, cool. So I went, and I don't even know if I deleted it, but it might still be on my Instagram if you follow me at Michelle J. Lamont, at Michelle J. Lamont on TikTok, at Michelle J. Lamont on Instagram, my website, michellejlamont.com. And we saw the solar eclipse. We looked through the glasses. It was like, oh, cool, blah, blah, blah. Go back to drinking. Well, this person was working in a situation. She was in a situation where she needed to change things about her life. And I had connections and contacts that could help her. And I had connections and contacts that would help her with the work that she was currently doing and where she really wanted to go. So I fulfilled those needs for her, but no needs were ever fulfilled with me. Within 90 days of the solar eclipse, this person would, kind of the same reason that like Taylor Swift wrote Bad Blood about Katy Perry. This person went behind my back, used my contacts to try to improve her situation, which did. And then maybe out of guilt, maybe out of the matrix of our reality, turned all those contacts against me. And it was very difficult to understand, and ended up cutting off that friendship. And she was only available to me when she needed me. And whenever I needed her, she was never available. It was a very toxic and abusive relationship, friendship that I didn't know was abuse. I didn't understand that, your friends were supposed to be there for you, or that people were supposed to help you. And I really had never experienced anything that looked like love since I was 10 years old. Through the sexual, spiritual, emotional abuse at the orphanage, and then in my marriage and in my life, that I just had gotten to the point where I would be friends with anybody. I didn't have any, is this a good person, or is this not any barometers or intuition? I didn't trust my intuition. I just went wherever I went, and that was not good. And so she ended up completely hurting me in ways that, when I still think of her, it still hurts, honestly. And then I had to work with her because she did get the thing that she wanted on the back of all of my years of contacts and networking. And it is what it is, So during that time, I didn't know really that I was in such darkness, that I was in an eclipse, that the sun was completely blocked out of my life. There was very little light in my world. It took everything to get out of bed. It took everything to attend those classes. It took everything to keep writing those press releases and going to TV shows and media events that I was just really not capable of being at, emotionally, vibrationally, energetically. But it was work, and it was just me, and I had a house and employees and dogs, and I had to do what I had to do. But in that process, I really never understood that where the universe was going to take me and why the universe was going to take me there. Now let's leap forward to the recent solar eclipse. And I don't know what year you're listening to this podcast or month, but for me, the solar eclipse happened yesterday in the year 2024, April the 8th. And in this fast forward story of the eclipse, a cosmic symphony of lights and of shadow. This time I stood along a very good friend of mine. And literally, after she left, I'm going to try to get through this without breaking down. After she drove away, and the garage door was closed, and I spoke to my class. My next class is Into the Mystic, but my current class is Manifest Your Money, Your Magic, and Your Miracles Boot Camp. And after I spoke to them, I turned my phone off and just cried for hours. And I almost didn't record this podcast because I thought my voice would be too trashed. But I stood along this friend, and together we delved deep into the depths of our soul. We really embraced spiritual practices. We started the day off by doing a meditation, an 11:11 meditation on the solar eclipse that we found on YouTube. And then we went outside and we did a little sound bath therapy for each other. She played and I played. Well, actually, I just played. She listened. And then we went inside and journaled. And then what our three biggest fears were. Then we pulled angel deck cards. I pulled cards for her, and then I pulled cards for myself based on those three questions. And then we did a burning and release ceremony. And we let that go. And then we looked up into the sky and saw the solar eclipse on the dock. We laid on the dock as the ocean just floated underneath us and all around us. And laughed and cried and danced. And I was playing a solar eclipse playlist with all these awesome songs about the sun. And then we did an abundance ritual. And we had to walk to a location to bury that and for financial freedom and to release any financial strains or stresses. And then on the way back, she got in her car and she had to go. She had work and children and all that kind of stuff. And unlike my past experience where trust was shattered, this unique encounter became a beacon of healing and renewal, honestly. The universe orchestrated a profound shift, totally rewriting my narrative and guiding me towards growth and empowerment. And let me tell you also this miracle story. My friend's a very busy person. In fact, we even did a podcast episode together here, Katie Ray and I. And when I say busy, Katie runs an amazing charity, Fostering Hearts, Florida, where she helps foster children. And then she's a mom of 3 beautiful children, and she's married, and she has a full-time job, and she's fundraising. And this woman literally has like 700 friends. And they usually, they say the people with a lot of friends have no real connections, but it's not the truth for her. She has a very unique ability to truly be present when she's with you. And it's something that is hard to define. But when I closed the garage door, it hit me like a lightning bolt that my past solar experience in 2017 versus 2014 was tremendously different. When we start our spiritual awakening, it is like a solar eclipse, except in reverse. So what happens during a solar eclipse exactly? The moon is orbiting the Earth. The Earth is rotating, interestingly enough, at a rate of 666,000 miles a second. So 666. We turn on an axis at a speed of 666. Hell on earth much? And as we're rotating at this very rapid speed, 666,000 miles a second or a minute, is it a second or a minute? I'll have to check that. We have this moon orbiting us, and this moon is 400 miles away from us, and the sun is 400 miles away from the moon. Okay. So somehow on April 8th, the moon went 100% a total eclipse of the sun, which is, I'm still like, did it really? I don't know. Anyway, that's another story. So as this eclipse happens, the moon gets in front of the sun and it stops those gamma rays from shooting off into our orbital atmosphere, which gives us light. And so it was an extraordinary experience that all humankind felt together. Everybody was outside celebrating. Everybody was outside experiencing it. Everybody was like, wow, look at the universe. Because the universe wants our attention. It's a rebirth of the universe. It's a rebirth of the sun. It's saying to us, we can let go of that time, meaning everything before right now. Even the sun needs a rebirth. So if everything that's ever happened to you up until the moment that you heard this podcast could be released, that's what the sun and the moon and the universe was saying to us in this very unique time. We could shed all of that history, set it on fire, release it, and be reborn again. And for all the people who are saying, well, I tried manifesting, it didn't work. I started my journey with a suicide attempt in 2016. And in 2024, I was able to be with somebody that the universe forced me to be with, but on a completely different matrix. So when I say Katie's busy and all that kind of stuff, she had reached out to me like 5 weeks prior and said, hey, let's set up a friend date. And I was like, great. She said, I said, what day? And she said, someday, I think, April 8th, didn't even correlate the two. I said, yes, blocked out my calendar, done. Well, that same day I started with a coaching client, and I have a program called 6 Weeks to Success, which if you've never done one-on-one coaching with yourself, or if you've never done spiritual therapy, or if you don't know how to get your happiness back, or you don't know how to figure out why you're stuck, if you don't know where you are, or how to get out of it, I have a program and a plan for you. I will hold your hand and walk beside you each step of the way and guide you to your highest timeline. We will visit the darkest shadows and we will come out on the other side. That said, I just started with a new coaching client and she wanted to do it on Mondays. I didn't even realize that the date that Katie had planned for us was a Monday. And so as it got closer and closer to our date, I realized it was a solar eclipse and that I was going to be in session with this coaching client at the exact moment of the total eclipse. But I don't cancel coaching sessions. So Katie and I realized it was the solar eclipse, and I said, hey, instead of going, we always do things like we'll go to lunch or we'll go for a walk or we'll go to the beach or we'll go do something. We were thinking about going rock climbing, kayaking, doing fun stuff like that. And so I said, oh my gosh, Katie, it's a solar eclipse. And when we're supposed to meet, it's literally the height of it. But I have a coaching session. Why don't you come over? We can start some of it. I'll do my coaching session for an hour. And then when I'm done, we can finish our solar eclipse practices. And she was like, great. And then literally 10 minutes later, out of nowhere, and this was her final coaching session, she reaches out to me on my platform and says, can we rebook for the following Monday? And I just responded with one word, absolutely. Sounds perfect. I just said, absolutely. And that was it. And I told Katie. And so then Katie came over and we started with our sound bowl and we did all of our practices and our things. And then we did our money ritual into the earth and all the other stuff. And here's the profound truth I want every person to embrace. There is life beyond the pain of betrayal and fractured relationships, whether they're friendships, whether they're familial relationships, whether they're work relationships, whether they're lovers, past or present. And the solar eclipse taught me that our journey is truly a kaleidoscope of experiences, each offering an opportunity of growth and renewal. And when we embrace these vulnerabilities, healing our own wounds, it allows us to foster authentic connections. And we then, and only then, will unleash the power within us to rise resilient and truly fucking radiant. All of the stars had to align. And instead of being behind that other girl's apartment looking at a body of dead water, it was a man-made lake. And if you know Indian traditions, Indians never get into a body of water that does not connect to a live body of water. Never. Here I was in front of this live body of water with a dead fish as a friend. And she brought the solar eclipse glasses because I didn't even think about it. And then Katie walks in with solar eclipse glasses for both of us. I'm like, look at the universe. The universe is literally providing me with everything. So I had about 10 angel tarot decks, and we went ahead, and the readings were amazing and transformative, and I feel so liberated. But how did the universe know that to give me that experience in 2017, that in 2014, I would be sitting on the dock of the house that I live in, and also 2 manatees swam past us like they were dolphins? Because I live on the water, we thought they were dolphins, and they were 2 manatees flip-flopping. Manatees are slow. They go like little, if you've ever seen a manatee, they're like, ba-bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-bum. They are just like the energy of slow and easy. They just look stoned all the time, and they'll come up and take the water off your boat, or they love lettuce and leafy vegetables. So if you ever have cabbage, I got to cook my cabbage, lettuce, the spinach, they always want that. And they swam past us, flipping, coming out of the water. I'd swear it was dolphins. She's like, oh my God, it's manatees. And the spiritual meaning of manatees was to slow it down, because now I'm no longer in my hustle girl era. I'm in my soft girl era. How we navigate this path of growth and transformation is truly up to us being able to stay in it. You see, if you're taking my classes right now, if you're taking one of my digital classes, if you're taking one of my live classes, and you don't see an instant manifestation, you could be frustrated. Or even if you're not investing in my programs, but you're listening to my podcast for free and investing in other programs, and you're saying like, well, this isn't working or that isn't working. In 2017, 2018, 2019, 20, so in 7 years, it took me to transform my entire life, to go back to school, to become a speaker, to go to take courses after courses after courses after courses. I read between 40 and 50 books a year. That's 400 books at least that I've read. Taking accreditations, getting certified by Yale during COVID as a happiness expert, consistently working on myself, consistently forgiving and letting go. Still a work in progress, always. To then be at a place where I would be hired to speak on the topic and get paid for it. To then buying this microphone, hitting record, and 3 years later, having over 500,000 people listen. Isn't instant manifesting. It's manifesting always. I was always manifesting. In 2017, I had to have that uncomfortable dead fish of a relationship and friendship in order for all of it to be dead and buried. I had to bury that version of Michelle that had to be all the things that everybody needed instead of all the things Michelle needed. Take that in for a second. What versions of yourself right now are not authentic? Meaning, let's say that you really hate your fucking job. Because if you're on your path, there's nothing else you can see. But when you're in a job, all you can see is the clock. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Probably why they named it TikTok, because we're tick-tocking our life away, doom scrolling. So in order for us to step into the matrix that is already waiting on us, we have to experience what we're experiencing right now. And walking away from that career, walking away from those friends and people in my life, family members, relationships, coworkers, income, even selling my house and moving to a state 1,300 miles away where I have no friends, knew nobody, and had nothing except my intuition and my gut, was very, very difficult. But it was totally worth it. And see, if you're ready to navigate that path of growth and transformation, it starts with honoring our intuition and embracing our spiritual practices that resonate with our souls. From candle magic to crystal healing, from earth rituals to tarot readings, the possibilities are vast as the cosmos itself. And actually allowing yourself the grace to shed those tears, to reflect, to forgive, and yes, to persevere, because you're persevering right now. In the crucible of pain and lies, the seeds of resilience and rebirth are there. And for us to understand empowerment through adversity, I want you to understand that your miracle is already waiting on you. And your ability to move past what you believe you're living in now, it's a false reality. It doesn't really exist, except to give you this reflective time to when the energy is in your reality, you see it and you're like, oh my God. Let me be unequivocal. Manifestation isn't just about wishful thinking or blindly hoping for change. It is honestly and truly about rolling up our sleeves and doing that inner work. And when it's uncomfortable and when it's challenging, it's when it's doing its best. It's about trusting the process and surrendering to the flow of the universe and allowing our highest self to emerge radiant and empowered. As you sit there in your space, absorbing my words, I implore you to trust the guidance of the universe and to truly embrace the changes that unfold in your path. Our journey, your journey, is a sacred tapestry of experience. Each thread woven with the intention and purpose. Honor your truth. Trust your intuition. And absolutely know that the universe is conspiring in your favor. Because truly, what is the law of attraction if it isn't that? Truly, in all aspects, the secret to the law of attraction is in some sense correct. We have to be a vibrational match to something to attract it, if it's really relevant to your reality. But a lot of us miss the point. Essential vibrational signature frequency is already attracting every single thing that is needed for you to truly have in this life. You don't have to learn to attract what you need. You have to get out of your way and keep those other thoughts at bay, and understanding the difference to remove all the negative fear-based beliefs that are preventing us, me and you, from being in that vibrational reality and that frequency of attracting and manifesting. Because in order for us to be that vibration, we have to be all the vibrations and experience all the things. That way we have reference points of what is and what isn't going to be tolerated in our new now matrix. You couldn't have the negative ones without attracting the positive ones. The point of the law of attraction and being a vibrational match to things is exploring those situations, walking away and learning from them. My sisterhood journey to empowerment is a universal one. It's a cosmic one, and it is an empowering one. We are stronger together. And if you don't know where to start with your shadow work, I wrote a book. It's on sale right now. It's a digital book. It's on my website, and it's $29.99. It's $19.99 right now. And it's Wreck It and Burn Shadow Workbook. It gives you every single prompt that you could possibly need without working with me directly to totally start uncovering where you were and created the matrix that you're in now, to then move forward to be a more of a magnetic vibrational reality to what you have a preference for. You see, some people prefer the darkness. They want to be fucked up. They want to be fucked over. They don't love themselves enough to want to change. They want to bitch about it and talk about it and complain about it, but they don't actually want to do the inner fucking work. And if you can't set aside 30 minutes out of your day to work on yourself, you're doing something wrong. You need to ask the universe, please give me my time back. And all of a sudden, things will be knocked out of your calendar. Simply sit back and say, I need a good 45 minutes every day where I don't have mom guilt, where I don't have wife or relationship guilt or work guilt, where I could just work on getting out of this dark crevasse of fucking unbelievable pain so I could one day sit on a dock with my new bestie and pull fucking tarot cards on the solar eclipse. What life am I living? Please. How did I get here? Because I did the work. Because I put the money in. Because I put the time in. Because I put the energy in. Overnight successes usually take about 20 years. Everybody's talking about Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, if you watch Miss Americana, since she was 12, has been journaling in these spirals like a maniac. Writing poetry, writing pain, all the covers of the journals. One day I'll be on a stage. One day I'll be performing. The woman's 37, I believe. She started when she was 12. You know why she can have an Eras tour? Because she had eras. She had experiences. She had somebody steal all of her music. All of these things happened out loud in public for us to watch and then see the resurrection and the rebirthing of. The universe sends us lots of examples of this, including me on this podcast, including me right now sharing my secrets. When I was on the dock with my girlfriend, I told her, I said, you know, one of the things that I haven't been able to face is my fear of love. Maybe I shouldn't open this can of worms, but I just did. Every man that's ever been in my life has betrayed me, except the father. And my biological father, the men at the orphanage, spiritually, energetically, emotionally, sexually, physically, spiritually abused me, my husband, business partners, even friendships. And so love to me, in a sense, has been a big block of mine because I didn't want, I wasn't in a place where I thought, I felt like if I get into another really deep relationship and and they walk away or it hurts me? What if I don't make it out this time? Just that thought would haunt me. But that is no longer my fear, because I am love. And I love myself so much. And we all get empowerment through our adversity, regardless of what we think. And no matter what era you're in right now, you got to stick with it. Your overnight success is just 5 years away. And we're all on this journey. It's a moving target. You're never going to just wake up and be like, oh, wow, I have $1 billion. Everything's great. Because there are a whole new vibrational reality to being a millionaire or a billionaire, or having unlimited access to money. Instead, I wake up now in a reality where if I desire something, it really does come to me very easily. Not everything, because I'm still working on everything, but so much. I'm very good vibrationally. And see, the law of attraction is telling you right now where you are. That job that sucks, leave. That relationship, leave. You don't even have to question. You already know who I'm talking about right now. This morning, yesterday, this afternoon, last night, you had a thought. This is a bad situation. I need to get the fuck out of it. This is the universe co-signing on that thought. It is time for you to move into this vibrational reality and understand that it is your season. And the era is that it is time for you to lean in. And shadow work to me is one of the best places to start. I did shadow work. I still do shadow work at least once a week, but I was doing it 2 or 3 times a day for 3 years because I had so much shit in my reality. And the experience of that attraction was for me to really understand and see my preferences. I really didn't like being drunk. I really didn't like being in situations where I was being sexualized, whether I was being used or whether I was being seen as somebody who could get them access to something. I preferred it because then I felt needed instead of just being Michelle and being enough. So as you start to lean into your vibrational eclipse, your season, I want to give you these words. I want to thank you for embarking on this journey of revelation and empowerment with me. Second, you don't know what era you're in until you're in the next one. And then the next, and then the next. And if you look at it as, if I don't like going to a club and getting fucked on Friday by somebody and fucked on Saturday by somebody and fucked on Sunday by somebody and being drunk for 3 days in a row, or being in a meaningless sexual relationship with somebody, or a work relationship, or a friendship, or a familiar relationship, a familial relationship, don't. But the more attention you put on it, you're telling the universe, well, this is my preference. And for me, freedom was my preference. I just looked and it was 44 minutes and 4 seconds. I'm going to wrap it up. But if you look at the era that you're in, the last era you were in, and if it looks too similar to the one you're in now, you're going to have to start making some changes, my love. And it could start with as easy as a 10-minute Zoom with me. And if you know you're going to need more than 10 minutes, you could actually buy a half hour of my time. I do packages now. You can get like 3 for the price of 1. I do hour sessions, but then I do one-on-one coaching, live courses. And my next live course, if you're in the timeline I'm in April of 2024, is May 27th, and it's called Into the Mystic. Into the Mystic. Because
if we don't know where we're going and we don't try all the different things out, we don't know which is going to be the best way for us to work. And I have so many success stories from these courses, but most importantly, all of the people who have taken them take another one and another one and another one. And they're always waiting on me to create another one because it benefits them so tremendously. They're literally, this is the one I will hand to the universe, to the vibrational God, to the energetic God, to the spiritual God, to the creator of everything, hand to them. Literally every time somebody signs up for one of my live courses, within days, something profound happens. And I always start off the class, who had something change after they signed up for, boot camp? And everybody raises their little Zoom hand, right? You start to change your preferences and the universe starts to say, oh, wait a second, this is a very different vibration. She's been ruminating in this lower field of consciousness and was completely satisfied there. And now they're over here in this new vibrational reality and all of their preferences are very different. How interesting. Let me take a look. And that's how it all starts. So on bended knee, I beg you, I implore you. Are you listening? Share my podcast everywhere. What would it take for you to just throw it up on your social media? What would it take for you to make a TikTok with my podcast cover behind you? What would it take for you to text the link right there in your show notes to someone? Like attracts like. If you want the universe to be constantly showering you with abundance, then you should be showering the world with abundance. Who could help them more than me? And as you absorb these words, I implore you to trust in the guidance of the universe and embrace the changes that unfold on your path. This little invisible string, as that Chinese proverb started talking about, that we all have these invisible strings that tie us to all of the situations in our life, are always pulling us back to different timelines and matrices. And in this era of your life, it's your time for rebirth and renewal. So I'm going to wrap it up right now. And the way that we always close the show. And I want you to imagine all of the tens of thousands of people who are listening because people shared my podcast, chanting together, and all of us in unison, stepping forward, maybe seeing each other in the next class, maybe on a Zoom. At least go grab that shadow book. Do something right now. And in 3, 2, 1. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Everything, us. Everything is always working out for us. Everything is always working out for us. Everything. Yes, honey. Everything. Say it with your chest. Everything is always working out for us. Now it's time for you to go and manifest your miracle today. Jump on my newsletter, jump on that free call. I even have a free 7-day course. There is no time like the present to start transforming your journey right now. Yes. Okay, producers, cue that motherfucking music. I love you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Manifesting Miracles. Now it's time for you to take action. I invite you to hang out with me just a little bit more by signing up for my newsletter. You'll get instant exclusive access to the practices that will chart your own path to abundance. And yes, spark that highest version of you. Head to the show notes right now so you don't miss a thing. Now listen, I fucking believe in you. And it's now time for you to win, win, win! Yes! Yes!